Hello and welcome to the district. My name is Jana Stevens. I'm the superintendent here in the School District of Superior, and today I've asked Kathy Hinders, our Director of Pupil Services Special Education, to join me on the program to share a little bit about a few things we're doing in the district this year and some big things that are getting rolled out really from the federal government and from the state. So welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
So let's start with first, we've got a variety of self-contained and programs here in Superior. Maybe you could talk about what those programs are and what we're trying to do to make sure they're at the top of the game.
We do have a lot of supports for kids in the district. We have a self-contained, cognitively disabled program that's K-12. We have it located at Bryant and one at the middle school and then one at the high school. One of the things that we're looking at this year is to determine how well we're doing in those programs. We're doing some marvelous things. We want to make sure that what we do in elementary transfers up to the middle school up to the high school. In addition to that, the state just this summer came out with the new Common Core grade band standards for this population. Now the Common Core is, for our listeners, are the new standards that all students will be working towards. For this population, they used to be called the grade band standards. So these are the standards that this population is tested on in the WKCE. So we'll be looking at also with an external consultant how we can implement those extended grade band standards in our classrooms this year. We don't have to legally do that for 2 years, but Superior, one of the wonderful things about the school district is that we take these initiatives and we take them to heart and we figure out what they look like in practice. So we are having an external consultant come and look at how is our programming K-12, and then in addition to that, how can we begin to put those new standards into practice and instruction.
Okay, and as you said, we do have a number of self-contained programs. The one we're talking about today is our kids that have a cognitive disability. What prompted this for you to say we should have somebody to come to take a look to see how we're doing?
Mm-hmm. Well, a couple of things. We've had some conversations with the new standards. We now have lead teachers that are working on that. They wanted some support in figuring out how to transfer that up from kindergarten all the way up to 12th grade. We wanted to see how we're transitioning kids at the secondary level at the high school into the community and see how we might be able to strengthen that so that these students, along with other students, can graduate with their same age peers.
Okay, right. And how are the standards for this group of learners different than the Common Core standards that are nationally based? What's the difference there?
The new standards for this population are actually built directly off of the Common Core standards.
Okay.
So in the standards, you will see what all kids need to do, and then you'll see a corresponding extended standard that specifically addresses that skill. And then within that, you'll have different levels that kids can do to demonstrate that.
Okay, excellent.
So it's very, for the first time, they're very, very aligned.
Okay, excellent.
And
that will be helpful for our staff to have time to look at that. Now, the outside consultant that's coming in, will he be ongoing for support or just to give us the overview and the picture of where we need to go?
Mm-hmm. This individual is actually a retired consultant from the Department of Public Instruction, and she's been the cognitive disabled consultant for years.
Okay.
So she will be here just this year. The intention is to have her come. She's going to interview paraprofessionals in the classroom. She's going to interview the teachers that lead the instruction in those classrooms. She will also be interviewing the principals and you and I to see all of our viewpoints, and then she's going to do some observations at every level in each of the self-contained classrooms. In addition to that, she'll also be working with a few of the elementary buildings that might have our more moderate population to make sure that we're doing what we need to do to support them.
Well, I think it's just a great example, and you said it earlier, of what we try to do in Superior really to be the lead across the state. So that's another example. Well, let's shift gears because there's another review that you're trying to look at as well, and is that our entire special ed assistant programming, how we do that?
That's correct.
Okay.
The other thing that we're looking at in the district is how we currently assign individuals for paraprofessional support in special education, and I want to be really upfront and let all our listeners know that the intent of the study is not to eliminate any positions. The intent of the study is to strengthen what we do to support the people who are fulfilling those positions. So we wanted to take a look at really how we assign individuals to either students or classrooms. We wanted to make sure that we were supporting them well, and we wanted to get their feedback on what they felt that they needed in order to fulfill their job.
Okay. And we do have, it's come up a number of times where we have one category of special education assistants. We have so many different programs, from kids that might have a moderate cognitive delay to a severe delay, to a mild behavioral disorder to a severe. So, and then, but we just have that one group. So I think it's wise to see exactly where we're at. We might find from that, I would assume that we have some support that might need to be put in place, and hopefully we'll find some real gems that we're doing things very well.
Yeah, yeah. Our intent again is to, and this one is led by a retired CISA director in special education, and our intent is to interview teachers and paraprofessionals and principals. We're going to do it first through a survey and then through direct contact interviews and then some observations. So it really is to figure out how in Superior we can better allocate the wonderful support that we have in the district for our kids.
And I think it is helpful because as we're in the middle of and always working on this, sometimes it's hard to see the broader perspective. So I think it's wise sometimes to have people come from outside to say, here's what I'm seeing, because these kind of people also have the opportunity to be in other districts, so they might be able to give us ideas on things we could do to enhance our programming.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I am as well. Now, when are both of these individuals going to be ready to share out their findings?
The paraprofessional study, we've created the first draft of the survey that's going to be online, so we're reviewing that right now. I don't anticipate that we'll be done and have a report in our hands probably till March or April.
Okay.
And probably for the CD study as well.
Okay, but that'll be good for us to know as we close out this year, things we might want to put in place for next school year. Great.
Right.
Let's shift gears again then, because we have one other piece that's actually is a huge piece that I know that Dr. Hinders has been leading for years in the district, and it has to do with our SLD rollout. So maybe you can talk about what is SLD and what are these changes?
SLD stands for Specific Learning Disability, and what the state has said is that beginning no later than December 1st of 2013, so we're still a year out, all schools will have to use a new criteria for identifying kids for that specific learning disability. Currently, we use a discrepancy model, so we take a look at how the student is performing and juxtapose that to their IQ. So is there a big discrepancy and do they qualify? We're no longer going to be doing that as of December 1st, 2013. But again, with Superior being out in the lead and taking things into heart and really trying to figure out, we've been working on this for a couple of years, as you know. And the elementary buildings are going to begin using this new criteria, eligibility criteria, in January 21st of 2013. So the state is really calling response to intervention, where teachers are really differentiating instruction based on students' needs. So now they're saying, using terminology such as big RTI, response to intervention, and little RTI. And big RTI is what teachers do for all kids because that's what good teachers do, and we support kids instructionally. Little RTI says that we have intensive interventions going on that are specific to the area in question, and we document that with progress monitoring, and those are the kids that are in the referral process for potential eligibility to special education. Now, what we may find is that these children get into these interventions, these intensive interventions, and they're going to be fine, and if we continue doing what we do, they won't qualify for special ed. But we'll start using their response to instruction to make the decision with families about whether or not they qualify for special ed. And to be really clear, this is only for kids that are just initially coming up for consideration. So any student that's in special education would not have this process.
Right, I'm glad you made that clear, because I don't want the community to think that we're pulling special education services. That's certainly not the case. And truthfully, this model is a better model to go through. We've had to spend some time finding out, as this is coming up, so what are some good quality interventions that we should be doing, and really tracking the kids to see if they're successful. So could you touch a little bit about the intervention team that you lead in defining how, at least in the literacy area right now, how what interventions are and how we base those?
Sure. We have a group of individuals that meet, so we have all of our literacy coaches. We have Cindy Magnuson, elementary principal. We have Marianne Korsch, myself, Mike Warner, who is the PK5 administrator for special ed, and Mary Anderson Petrowski, that have been working over time to take a look at what are some really high quality strategies in the area of literacy that could be used for interventions. How does that, what are some of our cut points with our data that we currently collect, whether that be our DIBELS information, our AIMS information, our MAP information, and then based on how kids are performing, which of those strategies could we target to implement and see how kids are responding. This next year, and starting in January, we're going to expand this conversation. We have a matrix put together for teachers to use. We'll expand that conversation to what programs do we currently have in the district that we might want to add to that intervention matrix to support teachers and kids as they do the interventions.
Right. And the public should know, all of our teachers, it's not that we weren't addressing the kids that aren't meeting the expectation that we thought. We've been working hard, as long as I've been in the district, to try to find what is it that we could do to help make sure the kids are successful. But as we learn more about students and learning and better instructional delivery and programs, we're just continuing to grow in this area.
Yeah.
So any other thoughts you want to share about either the SLD, the new rollout, or our review of the programs?
The only thing that I want parents to be aware of is that the district will be posting a letter informing you about the move of the elementary buildings to the new specific learning disability criteria in January. So you can be looking for that on our website underneath the special education department. So go to that and look for that, and we'll also be giving that to principals to send home in their monthly newsletter. So if you have any questions, please feel free to call me.
Excellent, great. Well, thanks for joining me on the show today to highlight a few things we're doing in our school district. And I want to thank everyone for joining me today on the district. Another reminder, if there's an issue or a topic you want to know more about, please call over to the board office at 715-394-8710. Let me know what the topic is and we'll do a show on it. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks.
All right.